Hello, hello, hello. It is Saturday morning, September 24th on this fine day here in Yorba Linda, California. And I am so happy that you're here today. We did change the time to 10:30, so those of you that did not watch last Saturday's show, I'm looking for a new time. It was just too close for some other things I had scheduled for Saturday mornings that it was just difficult to get on at 9 o'clock. So this is much better. It was a lot more relaxed going live because, as usual, there's always glitches and things that happen that just stress me out. And then I have to run to my car or something and get other equipment to use the alternative, which is my phone. So let's get right away to what's going to happen today on this show today. There is a story about a woman breastfeeding her puppy, and there's actually a video that goes along with it. It really was hard for me not to feature that particular story today, but you can find it on the internet. And I just find it really, there's some odd things that people do. And there was no real story as to why she was doing that. So I'm not sure it was out of, necessity to save the dog's life, which would be, I would say, well, that's okay. Or she was, I don't know. I don't know why she was doing it. They're speaking another language. It kind of sounds like Spanish, but I wasn't really sure. So yeah, you can find it. But it's probably not something for this particular show. And so those of you that don't know who I am, Andy Falco Jimenez. I own Falco K9 Academy. We're going to talk about some dogs that are in the news. There's a dog that got hit by a train, and there's actually a good story that comes out of that. I know it's our policy right now to try to only feature those kinds of stories that make you feel good. So on the surface, it sounds bad, but it ends up being a good story. There is a story about the pugs and the other dogs, the other types of bulldogs, dogs that have the smushed in nose. Again, not quite a feel-good story, but it's something that we do have to talk about and make sure, because I brought it up before in a previous episode of Falco K9 Dog News. And so I want to make sure and follow up with any stories that relate to that, because I do think it's important to talk about. And then we have a lady or a dog that was investigated for stabbing his owner with a knife. Yes. This really happened. And so we're going to talk about that. And then in the end, we're going to, towards the end of the episode, we're going to talk a little bit more about some dog training. Those of you that don't know, I am used or called upon to speak in a lot of court cases. I think I got maybe 7 going on right now that I have to actually turn down a couple right now because I have too many going on, but especially on dog sniff evidence in regard to detection dogs that search for narcotics. But I get bite dog cases. I get slip and fall cases where a dog has knocked somebody down or pulled them down. And so I was in federal court in Los Angeles yesterday on a dog sniff case, and some things that I talk about quite often will relate to my bed bug detection dog handlers that are also watching on our bed bug detection dog private group and our open group. And so we're going to talk about some stuff that also applies to pet dogs. And so towards the end, we're going to talk about an important aspect of training that really needs to be discussed, because there are some issues that we find that people don't understand this one aspect of training and where training needs to take place and all that kind of stuff. So that's what we're going to talk about towards the end. So make sure and stay for the whole show. All right. So some things that are happening around here. Let's see what's happening. We have Morty the mortuary dog, and we have a little bit of a hiccup with Morty. He's changed his personality in this new environment, and it's just one of those things that happen. Myself and one of my trainers, M, took this dog and really put it through the grinder as far as making sure that the dog would not have any problems. But as happens with some dogs, and this is one of the difficulties with training detection dogs, police dogs, and that kind of thing, is because with us, we have such a regimented rules and boundaries type of training where our dogs become really connected to us and love us and don't show maybe some deep-seated genetics that are in there or behaviors that are in there that comes either through baggage from what they went through before we actually found them, or it's just how they were born. And sometimes they don't show those things because it's never comes up, because they're so connected to us and understand that there's rules and responsibilities in regard to our training. And so we can walk them around children, other dogs, PetSmart, Petco, Home Depots, all those kinds of places, and have people greet the dog, and we'll never ever see an issue. But now in the new environment, the dog suddenly is showing, some growliness and some barking stuff that really was not an issue. And we had that dog probably for a good 2 months, probably, and never saw that with my children. I have children that are from 2 to 5, 9 and 10, and then 22, and not with any of them. Played with them, sat next to them, cuddled with them. They even trained the dog. They even had a hand in training the dog. You saw that on some of the things. And so that's one of the things that right now it's just concerning, because this is a really sweet, wonderful dog. I know the people that have the dog are perfectly fine and doing everything that we probably told them to do. And it's just one of those odd things. It's just this odd connection that isn't being made, that was made with us. And so we're going to figure out what we're going to do there. So I'll keep you up to date on that. If any of you are looking for a really nice dog, I'm telling you, he's not an attack dog or anything like that, but in an environment where we wanted this dog to perform, the little bit of like looking at people kind of suspiciously does not work for a therapy dog. I've told you I have a couple court cases going on, some interesting court cases. They're the dogs that are out there working, and the police officers are working so hard, are doing such a good job in so many areas. But there are some things that are falling through the cracks in regard to training. And sometimes when I get these cases, I'm so disappointed to see that some of the work isn't being done that needs to be done. And I'm getting videos of things and that kind of stuff. So these are sometimes pretty tough, because I get some cases there I just cannot help the dog and the handler in the case because some things are being done so poorly. And again, we're going to be talking about that a little bit later on. I want to let you know that I'm using a new program here. And if you've been on the last couple of weeks, you know that there's been some technical difficulties. But I'm using a new platform that's not really even available to the public yet. And it's called Blue Jeans. And Blue Jeans allows me to broadcast live on Facebook using my laptop and all that kind of stuff. So you're going to be able to see my screen in just a few minutes. And it is a fantastic platform. So those of you that are in business or in marketing or watching this, this is broadcasting on a number of my Facebook pages, including, like I said, the bed bug detection dog private group and the public group. Sorry, the dogs have decided to go crazy while I'm on the air here. You might consider getting this platform. Anybody in business right now needs to be on Facebook and Facebook Live and telling people about their business and what it is they're doing and broadcasting their own television show. And so that's one thing that I teach people how to do. And this is one thing that I'm telling people they need to have. Blue Jeans is a great platform for this stuff, because I can actually interview people. And I'm setting some stuff up as we speak to actually, now the show that we're doing now here that you're watching is going to include interviewing experts in the dog industry. I'm hoping to get a couple pet food companies on here to talk about their pet food and what it is that they do and how they do it, and veterinarians and essential oil people, and anybody else that, if you just have a suggestion of somebody that you might know that wants to be interviewed, or if you're watching this and you're in the pet industry and think that your story would be interesting for our audience to hear from you, make sure and let me know so that I can interview you. So again, the platform I'm using, this is really solid. I love it. The only thing that with every platform, it just makes it difficult for me to see if there is any comments coming from you all, because of course I have to install new software. This keeps happening with the iOS system for Apple, so I'm going to do it later. Oh my gosh, it's asking me to put in my code. And so I'm going to try to look here on my laptop or my iPad. I was just on this just seconds ago. And of course, when I go live, it wants me to do all this stuff. Okay, so I'm going to try to see if I can see some of the comments while I'm doing this. But again, if you have any suggestions for people to interview, or if you have a company yourself, that would be great to have you on here to talk about what it is you do. Again, I think I'm going to have a vet that hopefully that I can go to on a regular basis that will be available to answer any of the questions you might have live in regard to your dogs or something that are going on with your dogs. Oh, good. Well, we have quite a few people that are watching right now. Okay, so it's always fun to see how many people are, because we have so many pages, it's spread across, so you may only see like one person on what it is you're watching, but there's so many pages that are out there right now that are airing this particular live platform. It's just fun to see how it all works. All right, so let's go ahead and get into our very first story here, and I am going to let's start with the dog that got struck by a train. Yes, this little critter got struck by a train, and a worker helped save the dog's life. And this comes to us from People Pets. I guess it's like an offshoot of People Magazine, which I guess I should have known was there, but it's People. It's the website People Pets, people.com, and then /pets. And so Charlie, that's the name of the dog, was found lying motionless on a train track. A worker performing maintenance between the Forest Hills and Roslindale Village stops in Massachusetts saw a gruesome sight. The pup, says a release from the MSCPA, which is the Massachusetts place, was struck by a commuter train, and her left hind leg was taken off. What happened next would save her life. The worker scooped up the dog and her leg and brought her to the shelter for emergency treatment. It's just astonishing that this dog survived, said Dr. Virginia Snout of Angels Emergency and Critical Care Unit. Her left hind leg was severed above the knee. The Good Samaritan brought the leg in and along with the dog, and the nerves, arteries, and veins were severed along with it. They named her Charlie because they didn't know who the dog belonged to and didn't have a tag. And in just a few days, the 1-year-old Shih Tzu, which has shown herself to be one tough cookie. She underwent surgery, which required 2 blood transfusions. Wow, that little guy. To remove what remained of her leg, to repair a crushed pelvis. All of this care costing the shelter a pricey $6,000. Actually, that's not as much as I thought. I thought it would be somewhere around $10,000. If you want to contribute, you can contact them. There's a website or an email address down here I'll give you. Now, the owner hasn't stepped forward to claim Charlie, who will remain in a foster home until she heals. The SPCA said those getting to know her are clearly amazed by her recovery and the worker's good deed. She absolutely would have bled to death within hours had she not been brought in so quickly, said Dr. Snout. Contact adoption at mspca.org. Adoption at mspca.org if you're interested in adopting the pup. So a great story of somebody stepping in, and there's just, not enough of that kind of thing happening right now in the news. I know it's happening in the real world, and people are stepping up all the time to help people and that kind of stuff. But we need more stories like this where somebody steps in, saves a dog's life, and this cute little bugger that we see here, just deserved it and deserved being saved and is really cute. So I don't know. I'm guessing this story just came out this morning. And so if you want this dog and you're near Massachusetts, or even if you're not, I guess you would email them and let them know. I imagine that dog's going to go pretty quickly. And but what a cute little dog. I don't often say that about small dogs. I'm a big dog kind of guy, but that dog actually, look at that face, and it looks pretty cute. All right, so now let's talk about this thing about pugs. And I brought this up that dogs that have this smushed in snout issue that we created, the humans created. The dog didn't come out of God's plan. This was something that we created, and we've messed it up a lot. And I say that as human beings, that we caused a dog with a lot of health issues. And I brought this up, and apparently there's people in the United States that are not very happy about the story that comes out of Britain. This is a story out of NBC, Channel 4 News in New York. But it says U.S. dog lovers not sold on British veterinarian group's flat-faced breeds warning. But I'm in the U.S. and I'm sold that what they're saying is that it's not a good thing. It's a good thing. Instagram celebrity dog Doug the pug lives in the United States. If he were from the United Kingdom, he might confront an unexpected stigma this week after the British Veterinarian Association called for prospective dog owners to avoid flat-faced dog breeds. What kind of dog? The warning targets canines of the brachycephalic. I tried just to zoom through that word, and I was hoping I was going to get it right, but you can see it there. Variety of dogs with little to no snout, like pugs, bulldogs, and Shih Tzus. According to The Guardian, Sean Wensley, president of the BVA, said prospective dog owner needs to consider that these dogs can suffer a range of health issues, which is true throughout their lives, from eye ulcers to painful spine abnormalities and severe breathing difficulties that can result in otherwise preventable surgery. Many domestic canine lovers say the Brits are grossly overreacting. Richard Goldstein, chief medical officer at Manhattan's Animal Medical Center, explained that nearly all thoroughbreds will come with baggage because of their specializations. If you're looking for a problem-free dog, we recommend swinging by a shelter and picking out a medium-sized mutt. That is correct too. I agree with that. That said, Goldstein has his own brachycephalic pooch, an 8-year-old English toy spaniel he absolutely adores. Our role is not to try to eliminate certain breeds or tell people that they shouldn't get them, said the vet. I definitely feel like there's a place for them, and I don't feel like we should be discouraging the appropriate owner from adopting one. The American Kennel Club agrees with the message, writing that it emphatically supports freedom of choice in selecting a pet. And that's not what they're saying. At least that's not how I took it. AKC actively promotes efforts to ensure that people are educated, understanding the demands of responsibilities of ownership, and have access to healthy, well-bred dogs that are right for them, a spokesman told NBC. They emphasize that the breeding program should be undertaken responsibly for the purpose of preserving breed characteristics and producing health, well socialized and purebred puppies. Owners should be diligent in the care overall well-being of the dog by keeping track of their exercise, health visits, vaccinations, and other preventative measures that aid in their dog maintaining its best health. All breeds have their pros and cons, and flat-faced canines do come with flaws. Exactly. Goldstein allowed that the brachycephalic dogs are more prone to airway and back problems and sometimes suffer from skin damage, like many breeds. And I would say skin ailments than damage, like many breeds. According to Julie Legred, executive director of the National Association of Veterinarian Technicians in America, those kinds of dog breeds have an increased risk of complications during anesthesia. Yes, they do. But she countered, by following protocols and using certified veterinarian technicians, such surgical errors dramatically decrease. Because the dogs' faces are so close to the objects they sniff, their owners must be attentive, said Cynthia Cool, a pug breeder in Vacaville, California. They're also more sensitive to weather than yes, they are. They're proving the point, right? If you're walking the dog, you need to exercise them when it's cooler as opposed to warm outside. In terms of life expectancy, Cole bragged that some of her pugs celebrate 16th birthdays. On average, the animals make it to 11 or 12, which is typical for a dog under 20 pounds. By contrast, Goldstein said that large breed dogs tend to have the shortest lives, with some considered geriatric at only 5 years old. John Little, president of the Bulldog Club of California, didn't seem convinced about his favorite pooch deficiencies. Chihuahua. The fact is that the Bulldog is an exceptional breed, he added. It's tremendous pet, and it has all the characteristics we want in it. Not all the canine experts pushed back hard against the BVA's recommendations. The American Veterinary Medical Association said in a statement to NBC that flat-faced dogs and their associated physical attributes that negatively affect the animal's welfare should not be bred, as those characteristics and related problems are likely to be passed on to their puppies. But rescues are a different story, the group said. Existing dogs with these conditions should not be passed over for adoption as long as the potential owner is informed of the animal's potential health risks and is willing to provide an appropriate lifestyle and necessary veterinarian care as issues arise. Phew. And yes, and that why did they save that one for the last? And that was really the point. It was bringing awareness of the breed and the issues that come with that breed. That is what that story out of the UK I really think is trying to say. I would say avoid that breed if you are the type of family or person where you want a dog, but you don't want a lot of other things that come along with it, right? It's hard enough for some people to just simply feed the dog, make sure it has water, brush it maybe once in a while, and make sure that it's clean and has a clean environment, right? Sometimes that's a lot of work, especially a working family that has kids and, all kinds of stuff. That you add anything to just those things and you begin to really make it difficult. And it also will make it difficult for the relationship. And so understanding that flat-nosed breed does have all of the things, even the people that they interviewed in the United States, including, I think, even the pug president, stated that they are unique. They have a great personality. They didn't say anything that the personality was horrible. They didn't say that they weren't trainable, which they can be sometimes difficult, but they are still trainable. They still are a dog that likes to cuddle and likes to be there for you. It's the medical issues that are associated with that breed, that they do overheat really fast, that they do health issues that come along with them, and it's just simply more than your average breed that doesn't have a smushed in face. However you feel about Howard Stern, I've listened to him for years, and he and his wife are huge animal people and rescue cats and have rescued dogs. And he had a bulldog that he loved to death, and he also, as much as he loved his bulldog and it was a part of his life, and literally, which you don't hear Howard Stern cry very often, but often comes to tears as he's talking about the dog, is that he says that dog, they should have never been bred in that manner, that the way that they structured the nose or bred in the snout features of being smashed in, along with some of the other issues, has really made a dog that suffers most of its life. So you look at a dog and they say the dog will last 13 years. Do you want a dog to last 13 years if it just has all these health problems and suffers constantly in pain and discomfort? They said nothing that it shortens the dog's life necessarily. It's just that the dog is constantly having to be taken to the vet for all these issues. Now, do you have pugs or bulldogs that don't have those issues? Yes. But again, as we're talking about the law of averages, or the percentages of dogs of those breeds that have those problems, it's extraordinarily much more significant than a Labrador Retriever that has a normal, what would be considered a normal snout, or and that kind of thing. Do there other German Shepherds that have hips problems? Yes, we've known that for years, and that's one of the issues, and that's why it's important that when you're breeding a German Shepherd, that the hips really be looked at and considered before breeding the dog, and of course also the sociability of a dog, and other health issues. When you have a dog that has health, and exactly what it says, you should not breed them. It's really important, and take those things into consideration. But the problem with the smashed in nose dogs, easier for me to say that than whatever they were trying to get me to say there, is that it's so hard because so many of them have health problems. It's almost impossible to breed two of those dogs together without one or both of them having some of those health issues, that it just gets passed on and gets passed on. The numbers are too great. Now, there's going to be a number of people that disagree, but I'm not telling you not to adopt those dogs either. Those dogs need love. And Howard Stern adopted one knowing that he was going to, and he can afford it, to have to make sure that dog, he said, had tons of medication it was on all the time. It was constantly being taken to the vet for infections, eye infections, nasal infections, and all kinds of things, other digestive tract issues that were going on with that dog his entire life. And he just felt so bad, and the dog just painfully died in the end with the ailments that he had suffered with in his entire life, and eventually overcame that dog and caused the dog to pass away. And so again, just to be sure, the story and what I'm trying to pass along is that it's not, don't adopt those dogs. Don't adopt them if you're not aware that you may have to spend more money and time with that dog because it is unique in those areas that it needs to have help. It really, and this will very much upset people. It's like telling people that maybe that pit bull owners hear the stories that they're outlawing pit bulls, that kind of stuff. It's the same. I know that, but this dog really is a suffering breed. And really need to consider the breeding practices and what goes on with the future of that particular dog, and just really look at it a little bit closer. I'm stopping short of saying there should never be a bulldog pug bred ever again, but we really need to consider, what are the practices? Can we somehow start to reverse this a little bit so there aren't so many dogs that are suffering with those ailments that go on? So I hope all that made sense. I'm not trying to walk the fence. I'm just saying be aware of that breed and the issues that go along with it. All right, let's go back to our stories here. Actually, let me just find the next one. And this is the funny one. After the lady breastfeeding the dog, this is the next funniest story. And I really wish I could show you the lady breastfeeding the dog. It's the stupidest thing. My wife, we've had 4 kids together, and she nursed all of our children. As a matter of fact, had our last one in the living room. In a little pool. So that stuff doesn't really bother me that much, and I would be happy to show it, but I know there are some people that would get bothered by that. I know that when she was nursing, that it was very touchy as to she was not uncomfortable nursing any of our kids when they were healthy. She'd always cover up and always found a place to be. It wasn't like she just flopped it out and started feeding. But it is, it's a touchy thing with people. And so I just wanted to, go find it. It's good. Okay, so let's talk. Sorry. Okay, here we go. Denver woman accidentally, see, it says it gave it away, accidentally stabbed by the pet dog. Cops won't press charges. Of course, this caught my eye very quickly. I'm getting a bunch of messages here. Let me see if I can bring some of them up and see what people are talking about. Again, there's so many pages that this is being seen on. Of course, I'm not going to bring up the one. Hey, Angela, I can see you gave us a thumbs up. Glad to see you. I miss you guys. I really would like to see you guys. Why don't you fly me out there and have me do some training with you guys? I would really love to see what's going on. There's some fabulous things I think you guys could do with your business. Angela, they own a bed bug detection dog business, and I believe it's in Michigan. I'm pretty sure it's in Michigan. Gosh, they are her and her partner are the greatest, and they could do a great show on Facebook Live with their company and their business, and that would just build their expertise. But they are great. If you're out in that area and you think you have a bed bug problem, you need to call them and get them out there. Just getting thumbs up and that kind of stuff. There's other people that are on there, I know, and I'm seeing the messages come across, but they're disappearing so fast that I can't see them. All right, let's look at this Denver woman who actually got stabbed at her dog. And let me see. I think I might try to play the video. Facebook Live doesn't like it when you play videos using Facebook Live. The problem with me pushing this one up here is that it's going to play that commercial. And darn it, I'd rather have you watch the video. There's some gross pictures that pop up in the advertisements here. I'm afraid to refresh here. Yeah, if I play this video up here, this commercial is going to play, and that's not what you want to watch. I mean, it's a good commercial. It's about veterinarians. I'm not saying that that's not a bad. But anyway, let's go to the story. I'll read it. She has the pedigree to be a killer. A Colorado woman was taken to the hospital Wednesday after accidentally being stabbed by her dog. Hudson resident Celinda Haynes, I believe this is in Colorado. That's the Brangelina News. It's the Daily News who's up, but I believe they're in Colorado. Told KDVR, the local Fox TV station, when teased with treats. Hudson resident Celinda Haynes said her dog Mia picked up a sharp paring knife from the kitchen counter. She told KDVR News. When teased with treats, in other words, she was trying to use a treat to get the knife back, Mia tried to hold on to her knife. So the dog was not willing. The dog came to her for the treats, but was not willing to let go of the knife to eat her snack at the same time. When Mia went over to eat the treat, she ran the knife across my arm and cut a big old gash about 4 inches long, Haynes told the station. Nurses at Plate Valley Medical Center called police